This team is incredible, and that's mainly because of Canton and Mac. I'm back from my basketball practice, that's why my hair looks like this, and of course we're gonna be having a ton of action by Mac, by Polyrath and Giratina on that closing part with Shadow Force, which is gonna be our nuke surprise move. And guess what, trainers? We're gonna land it a few times on this video, so stay tuned till the end. This is gonna be a pretty informative one. So we're gonna start off today's content with a very bad lead, followed up by a very bad switch against Tapu Koko. Are you kidding me? And now Dark Pulse is gonna do some cheap damage over Swampert. So it all depends now on what might be at the very end, and to be fair, I do not have a lot of hope here, but let's see how this is gonna turn around, because I can reach here now to the Dragon Claw for some extra pressure on their end, and they managed to block. I guess this is mainly because their backline Pokemon might be extremely weak to my moves, so they end up having a Talonflame here, so Shadow Force is coming up for massive damage on Talonflame, but this is Ultra League after all, and even Shadow Force cannot one-shot down a lot of opponents. So at this point I will try to go ahead and catch the move on my Mag. Absolutely wonderful for us, and with that in mind now we will just farm down completely and still reach to another Shadow Force to grab the victory for the first battle of this video. That was an impressive one, right? And now let's keep going into the next battle with another terrible lead scenario. On the switch we are meeting up with a Charmer that resists our moves. Are you kidding me? The worst case scenario up in front, we're having a terrible switch once again, but hopefully here we can reach to another move, this time the Ice Wind for some cheap damage, and perhaps this is gonna be the ideal timing for us to debuff them all the way down. This means now that even Psychic can easily be tanked by our Mag, and we need to keep those two shields for the very end game, and perhaps their third Pokemon might be also weak to our Giratina. So for the time being here, we're just gonna go for the cheap Thunder Punch. Of course, we are not gonna draw any shield here, and my opponent now has access to Stone Edges. Let's see if they are prepared for my Giratina for the very end game, and I will try to charge up as much as possible over here up to that Shadow Force level. Right after I will start baiting because I'm expecting a shield at some point, but my opponent will not fall for that. Instead they will come into the battle with Tentacle, and we need to get our hands on the Shadow Force. Absolutely wonderful for us, and we know that they might actually be building to a Blizzard because this is the most common move that Tentacle is gonna throw. Instead though, we're gonna go for the Dragon Claw. Now we can switch out to our Mac, and they need to sacrifice all of their energy. So the battle is definitely not over yet because we managed to get to the Thunder Punch, and down goes that Tentacle. They still have though two shields into the game, and we're getting severely low. I decide to let that move go through, I guess, because even though we're getting super low, one Stone Edge cannot finish us off, and I want to rely completely on the Shadow Claw damage to grab this victory for us. Into another bad lead, and this time this is gonna be a terrible one because my charge attacks are gonna be resisted by a lot. So at this point I'm just gonna take whatever move they throw and still stay into the battle because I'd rather sacrifice my Mag for the greater good of this team and not have that Gas Lord over my Giratina on the end game. This is gonna be absolutely terrible. So by staying in here we can somehow have a safe environment to our Polyrath up against whatever they have at the back, but at the same time they get ahead on that switch. They are at a very good knowledge level of Go Battle League because as it seems they have already figured out that I might be weak to that Gas Lord. However, we end up blocking here the Hydro Cannon. I know that this cannot be a nice beam now, and we're just gonna take this cheap move. So right here we have farmed up so much energy, and I guess with one Dragon Claw at this amount of HP we might actually be enough to take them out. Now only Skeledirge remains at the very end. I'm just gonna go for the nuke, and we land it on Skeledirge for the one shot even though they had two shields remaining. That was absolutely wonderful for us. Into the next battle now with a Feraligatr here. Absolutely a weird lead, definitely a weird lead actually, because we can do a lot of damage with the Thunder Punch, but at the same time they can hurt us a ton with those Hydro Cannons. Not only that, but we also managed to catch the move on our Poliwrath, which happens to be the safe switch of our team. Now Scald is gonna be the only move that we can throw over that Annihilate, and we can do so much damage, which means that one more might actually take them out. This gives them the urge to finish us off with a Shadow Ball, and now that they are energy dry, I'm just gonna go ahead, shield once, and completely farm down with my Giratina. And Giratina with energy can easily reach to a Shadow Force to destroy down unsuspected opponents. So down goes that Pokemon, and now they have a Zygarde coming into the game. I was over farming for no reason at all, as it seems, and I'm lagging once again because I did only one Shadow Claw, press the move, and they did two of those Dragon Tails, which is kind of a big bummer. Anyways, the battle is definitely not over yet because they want to undercharge here in weird effort to farm it down, but in return we managed to finish off that poor Feraligatr since they are shieldless. Now with a lot of energy stored up, I try to throw at the correct timing unless I'm lagging here, and as you can see, by blocking this final move we might be actually able to destroy them down with that final Dragon Claw, and Giratina will emerge victorious once again. This team is no joke at all, and Shadow Mac could be a better replacement for the regular Mac, but I still think that Cantonian Mac with no Shadow can provide so much pressure and more bulk for your team, and this team is already bulky, so extra bulk means extra positive results. So now with that Grident coming in as a safe switch, we can absolutely have the upper hand with our Poliwrath because we can easily farm down in the process, and since we have debuffed them as much as we can easily farm down in return. Now Annihilate returns, but they cannot farm us down completely because we can still reach to a couple of Scalds if they are not careful. So over here I guess they want to sacrifice a shield in the process, but at the same time, or at least I was hoping for that, and at the same time they want to throw at that CMP, which is absolutely wonderful for them. Now not only they take out my Pokemon, my Poliwrath, but also deal severe damage with a Shadow Ball to my Giratina. Now at the very end Greninja comes into the game, and of course Mac here is gonna have kinda the upper hand with those Thunder Punches. However, Greninja is super spammy, and we need to be extra careful on that, and of course I'm getting a little bit too cocky here because I have to throw at some point and before they get to their moves. Anyways, we still manage to get those shields out of play, so the final Thunder Punch in combination with those poison jabs will be enough to get them out of the way, and of course Annihilate can do nothing at this amount of HP that it has. Cresselia now into the next one, and we're just gonna keep going at it with our poison moves and perhaps a Dark Pulse. However, they end up going here for the Moonblast, and I guess we can take that move with ease. Since they are staying in so long, I guess this is the perfect timing for me to throw at least a move and not block the next one, because it cannot be a Future Sight, right? Just another Moonblast, and as it seems perhaps they are kinda weak to my Mac at the very end. So by getting here the move, we kinda get rid of our Mac, but at the same time they went for the Grass Knot, which means that we can survive that move. Now with the Thunder Punch over that Pidgeot, and before they farm us down, I will switch out to my Poliwrath. In doing so, well, we can get a switch locked in here with their third Pokemon after that severe debuff of Feather Dance, but I still think that since they have a Flyer here, perhaps their final Pokemon might also be weak to my Poliwrath, so they want to take us out with a Pidgeot. Another Ice Wind is imminent, down goes a nice amount of HP out of them, and now we can reach to another Ice Beam before they do anything weird. With that in mind, now we have the shield advantage, and of course we can have a much healthier Giratina, and of course they also have the debuff on the attack stat, which means that those Dragon Claws can easily be taken without sweating at all. So now now I have to reach to a couple of Dragon Claws, and of course the next Dragon Claw of my opponent needs to be blocked. I need to get my shields work, and of course now Pidgeot comes in. I have to get rid of that Pokemon as soon as possible, but at this point we have so much energy, we are so ahead on energy that we can absolutely finish them off without sweating at all, because by blocking here we can still reach to another Dragon Claw and finish off that opposing Giratina. Into the next one now, after we finish off that Cresselia, I mean, because it is still alive for some reason, and this is gonna be the final one for today's content. So they have a Cresselia this time up in front, and we're meeting up with a Giratina on the switch. This is not the ideal scenario, but at the same time we also have Dark Pulse, which means that we can do a lot of damage in the process. So by taking that move now, this is the perfect timing for me to bring my Poliwrath into play, and by going here first for the Icy Wind, we can somehow farm down in the process and get out of here with a lot of energy. They got Shadow Force as well, but guess what, trainers, we managed to debuff them, which means here that we can survive all of those moves, even that Shadow Force worth of damage. So here comes now my Scald. At the attack fell on that Cresselia, and we got one more Scald to almost apply more pressure and drop them below 50%. So in the process they managed to get a lot of energy. I guess they already have 100, and now Swampy is gonna be at the very end. This is looking kinda good for us now because their switch locked in here with us, and I'm just gonna get my hands on the Dragon Claw just in case they block. Of course they did not block, and perhaps I could farm a little bit extra to reach to the Shadow Force level to surprise them with a nuke, because as it seems this Swampy is getting super low, but they want to keep those two shields for the end game. On the plus side though, we end up having so much energy that a back-to-back Dragon Claw here can hurt them a lot, and they managed to catch the second one on that Cresselia. So the battle has not been settled yet, the outcome at least, because we need to catch at all costs on our Mag, and we managed to do so in the most entertaining way, because not only we caught, but also we make them drop all of their energy from that Swampy. So now all we need to do is to reach to a simple Dragon Claw and farm down in the process and get for us another huge victory with Giratina as our closer. That was an amazing video to create. Thank you for watching and for staying around till the end. It really means a lot for my channel. As usual, before you go, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to catch you all up into the next one.